Hello, welcome. I'm Carl Taylor, live on Facebook and possibly YouTube. We don't know today because Ben, our master video technician editor, is on holiday. So he's left Tim and Emma in charge. Are we all good there? Is it all working? Yes, seems to be working. So, well, it's almost Christmas, guys. I'm really excited. My little kids are going crazy. Stephanie there is dressed for the occasion. You can see she's really excited about it. She's looking forwards to a Christmas turkey dinner because she's looking a bit skinny, so she needs Christmas dinner. She hasn't eaten for a while, actually. We need to buy her some clothes as well. Right, so what are we doing here today? Well, today we are announcing the winner of this. Look at this. Tim's going to switch to the screen here right now. He's woken up. Right, so we are going to announce the winner of the 5D Mark IV camera today because we had our competition with the theme Moments, which closed December the 10th, and we're going to announce the prize winner. So come back to me, please, Tim. So we're going to announce the prize winner of that competition. We've actually got a third, second and first. So I think third place wins this Lee Filters foundation kit for holding the Lee Filters grads and different filters. Second place wins a Lee Filters big stopper filter. Love that filter. And first place wins that amazing $3,300 camera body. So yeah, we're going to come back to that. I'm going to talk you through the winners, but before I actually talk you through the winners, I'm going to show you some of my favorites. So it's going to be a bit of a mystery at first because you're not going to know which one, and you're going to be sitting there going, oh, which one's the winner, which one's the winner? And then I'll just reveal the winners at the end. So I'm going to show you some of my favorites that I've got in a folder, and then I'm going to show you the final lists in another folder, and then I'm going to pick the 3 winners. But before we come to that, what have I got to tell you? What's happened? Friday, was it Friday we had our Christmas party? We may have accidentally posted too much live video on Friday of us. Inebriated would probably be the most appropriate word. Mostly Ben was inebriated, although I was probably not in good order either. Anyway, we posted some video on Friday live on Facebook. I think I've deleted a couple because it all went a bit astray. The wonders of alcohol. Now, what else have we got? H6 camera, Hasselblad H6 100. I've been thinking about buying one for a while. And recently, I tested one very intensively and very scientifically. And if we take a look at my screen, you can see on our website at carltayloreducation.com/H6 test, I put together this comprehensive test. Now, it says here H6 100 versus Sony A7R. To be honest, we only did that as a little bit of a, you know, clickbait, if you like. Basically, it was I was testing the H6 against my H5 because I wanted to make a purchasing decision about which camera to go with going forwards, trading in my H5 for the H6. And I threw the Sony in the mix because everyone kept raving about the Sony being a medium format killer and all this nonsense. And well, I kind of put all that to bed basically in that video, as you'll see. And on top of that, just go back to the screen a second. On top of that, you can actually download the full res files from the test. So you can download the H6 file, the full resolution file, even though it's about 600 megabytes, and the Sony, and you can compare them side by side for yourself. So head over to carltayloreducation.com H6 test /H6 test if you want to watch that video with my sort of scientific tests, very intensive, in-depth test on all these cameras against each other, and then you can download the results as well. Now, what else have we got to say? Right, live show this Wednesday, I believe it is. Let's take a look at this. Wednesday this week, Wednesday the 20th, 1800 GMT, 1300 EST. We will be doing live beauty lighting techniques. We'll have a model in here. We're going to have a makeup artist in here. And we are going to be doing live live workshop, online beauty photography. I'm going to be showing you some lighting techniques, some tips and tricks for beauty lighting. We'll also be talking to our makeup artist, a little bit of information from her as well. And we'll be photographing our model live, and you'll be able to see the results live, and I'll be giving away some tips there during that workshop. You can check that out. Wednesday the 20th. That's this Wednesday, 1800 GMT, that's UK time, 1300 EST, USA time, over on carltayloreducation.com. Head over to our live shows section. Now, while I'm here, if you want to ask any questions about anything that I feel I might be able to answer, fire a question in on Facebook there. And if Emma sees a fitting question, I'll do my best to answer it, okay? So if you've got any questions, fire them in. We'll pick them up here on Facebook and see if we can answer any of those. Now, another thing I want to talk to you about. Let's go back over to my computer there, Tim. Hasselblad. As you know, I'm an ambassador for Hasselblad, but in January, I think it's January the 11th till the 14th, the Society of Wedding and Portrait Photographers at the Hilton Hotel in London. I think it's the Metropole Hilton. I can't even remember. Yes, the Hilton London Metropole Hotel. I will be giving a talk for Hasselblad over 3 days there. Let me just bring this up. So this is the Society's convention. I will be doing a talk on working with just 2 lights and doing a live demonstration at 10:30 a.m. I will be doing a talk, or not a talk, sorry, a live demonstration as well at 12 o'clock on lens choices and hard lighting for beauty photography. I'll be doing another demonstration at 2 p.m. on rim lighting and underexposure. And then I'll be doing a talk and presentation inspiring photographers through knowledge at 3:30 p.m. Now I'm going to be doing this on the 11th, the 12th and the 13th, I believe. I think it's the 11th, 12th and 13th. Let me just check. I can't actually remember. Let me just see. What is it on? Yes, it is the 11th. No, it's not the 11th. It's the 12th, 13th and 14th. Okay, 12th, 13th and 14th of January at the Hilton Metropole in London for the Societies of Wedding and Portrait Photographers convention at the London Hilton Metropole. I'll be there as a guest to Hasselblad doing some presentations for them. If you would like to join us, then let's go back to this, Tim. If you'd like to join us, let me see if I can find the details here. We will be at the Monarch Suite, M83 to M86. First come, first serve basis for getting a position to see what's going on. So if you want to come over, say hi, be happy to say hi. Come out, check out some of the latest Hasselblad gear and cameras. I'll be using broncolor lighting. We'll be doing some live demos, some great workshops, 3 workshops plus a talk. Come and see us. Be great to see you there. Right, now, what should we do now? Should we answer a couple of questions before we go on to the competition winners announcements? Aboy Wong says, which camera has been your favorite? Actually, I think my favorite camera ever was when I was working back in photojournalism back in the 90s, was a Canon F1. It's an old film camera. As a matter of fact, I showed it a few episodes back when I had a rant about gear and equipment. So the Canon F1, which is one of the reasons I love that camera, is a solid metal body, and it works by just manually winding the film on, but it can actually work without battery. So just the motion of winding the shutter, winding the camera on, resets the shutter, and it can shoot without battery. So you can still use the aperture manually. I think it's fixed to a shutter speed of 1/100th of a second, but you can still adjust the aperture. So even if you ran out of batteries and you used like the Sunny F16 rule, where you had an exposure table in front of you, you can still shoot with it. It was a real workhorse of a camera. Since then, moving into advertising and product photography, I now use medium format. Obviously, I love my Hasselblads. My first Hasselblad was the H1 with a 22 megapixel back. Bought that back in 2005, and it's 2018 next year already. Can you believe it? Glenbert Embing says, what is the best one light lighting? there's never a best. There is never a best, okay? Because every situation is different, whether it's a product, whether it's a model, whether it's a person, whether it's a hard light look, a soft light look, a portrait look. Let me just show you something. I'm just going to go over here. Let's have a look on this page here. If we look here in this course, light source, we've got one light setups. Every single one of those photographs that you see here was taken with just one light only, okay? Orsrecker and I came up with a number of scenarios, 10 scenarios for one light only, 10 scenarios for 2 lights only, 10 for 3 lights, 10 for 4 lights, plus business, plus location portraits. And we condensed this all into one of our more recent courses called Light Source. And we show you exactly how to do this stuff with just one light. And if we come back to me, Tim, Tim's going to have to keep an eye on me here because he's not watching. If we come back to me, with one light, we can do so much, but we can do so many different things. It's just about the knowledge. So what I would say to you, Glenbert, is there is no best. There is just variation upon variation, and it's about the knowledge. It's about knowing what to do. You can learn that over, there's $14 membership for a month. You could join for a month and you could watch that entire course. And then if you didn't like it, you could leave. Can't say fairer than that. Tim Smith says, do you still shoot with Canon? Yes, Tim, I do from time to time. I have some Canon 5D Mark IIIs, which when the occasion calls where I need you know, higher frames per second shooting, you know, where more documentary style photography, that sort of camera is more appropriate to me. But 99% of the time I'm shooting in the studio, I'm shooting commercial, I'm shooting product. So I'm using medium format. Carl Taylor, what is the best shot for chocolate? Well, I'd look at our food photography sections for the best scenarios for chocolate. If we go over to the product section, so obviously I'm talking about Carl Taylor Education here. The reason I have to talk about this is because there's never a best thing for one particular thing. You know, you could have a lighting setup that's similar to these berries shot that we did here that would work for chocolate. You could have a lighting setup that's similar to this cup of tea one that could work for chocolate. It depends on the chocolate. It depends on the angle that you're shooting, the subject, the mood, the feel. There's never a best. There's only the best for what you need. And that is dependent on the emotion you're trying to convey in the picture. It's, do you want a dark, moody feel? Do you want a bright, punchy feel? Do you want a seductive feel? Do you want a desirable feel? What is it that you're trying to convey? What's the message you're trying to convey with lighting? That's what you need to think about, not just what's best to photograph this cup of coffee. Okay, there's a million ways to photograph that cup of coffee, but what do you want the cup of coffee to look like? Okay, next question. Shane Baker. Hi, Carl. Can you share some business tips on portrait pricing? There are lots of ways to do it. Curious how you do it. Well, I don't really do it, to be honest, Shane, because I don't really do portrait photography. I do some business portraits for annual reports and companies and stuff like that from time to time. We do fashion photography. We have got pricing tips and recommendations in our business section, but I would say to you, if you're not able to head over there and sign up for our $14 a month thing, I would say to you, you have to work based on a fee. You have to work almost backwards. You know, if you want to do this as a career, you want to do it professionally, you have to determine, first of all, how much do I want to make? How much money am I happy to make a year? You know, is it £100,000 a year? Is it £50,000 a year? Is it £200,000 a year? What is it you want to make per year? Then you have to take your overheads. How much does your studio cost? How much does your equipment cost? What are your rental fees? You then have to deduct take all of these fees, add that on top of what you want to make, put all your other costs together like insurance and ongoing equipment, car, travel, all of those things, and you have to work out what your total expenses for the year are going to be. Then you have to consider how good you are. Can you make enough money? Will you win enough business? So that's basically a supply and demand question. And how well can you market yourself to make sure that you get that business in? That's also an important factor. And you then have to also look at what your competition is charging, because if you're more expensive than the guy or the girl down the road and she's better than you, then you're not going to get any work. It's that simple. So you have to price yourself according to the market, to suit the market and to suit what you want to earn. And I always say to photographers that come to me about, making money from photography, how do I make money from photography? Often you have to step back and look at it differently. You have to think of it as a business first of all. And if you're not happy with the money you can make from it as a business, then don't do it, because there's a lot of work needed to make a successful photography business. I know, because I started 20 plus years ago at the very bottom with no equipment, with basic Canon 35mm gear, working my way up, saving, taking bank loans, getting a studio, loaning more money from the bank. But I had the confidence to believe that I could do it. I was looking at what the competition were doing and thinking I could do better. I worked very hard getting my work out there, but I always thought about it from a business perspective. How much money do I want to make? How much business is there? What's my competition like? What's the surrounding locality like for winning business? How able am I going to be to win business? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. Forget about the photography element to start with, because photographers sort of get in this floaty, arty cloud about, oh, I'm going to be a photographer and it's going to be amazing. Well, it's not, okay? It's not. When you run photography as a business, it's a completely different kettle of fish, okay? Don't get me wrong, I love my job, love what I do, but it really is, you really need to focus on the business side of things, and you need to look at the business decisions. If you're just doing, who was it? It was Shane. If you're just doing the portraiture as a part-time thing, and you've got more flexibility with your budget and stuff like that, that you just want to dabble in it, then the only way you could price yourself is based on how good you think your portraits are compared to Joe Blogs or Joanne Blogs down the road, and how much she's charging and how good her stuff is. Okay? Right, let's take another couple of questions. Hi Carl, do you clean your own camera sensor? Yes, I do clean my own camera sensor because it's very easy with a medium format camera. You just take the back off and there's the sensor, and I just give it a squirt of air or a clean with a wipe and it's done. If it's on my 35mm camera, we've got a great video on YouTube, Carl Taylor's How to Clean Your Camera Sensor. So go and check that one out. Next question. Jan Larson. If you only had money for Para 88 or 133, which would you buy? I'd buy the 133. It's my favorite lighting modifier. Let me just take a look at a couple of shots here. I'm going to show you on my commercial site. Let's go into the people section. So this is carltaylorportfolio.com. I use that one there is the 133. I used the 133 on that one. The 133 is so versatile in what you can do with it and how you can work with it. So you can use it from far, you can use it from close. I use it on lots of beauty work. Whereas I'm just trying to find, yeah, so this sort of thing here, 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 lots of it. You can create hard light, you can create soft light with it, you can create all sorts of different qualities of light with the 133. It's a fantastic modifier for beauty, portrait, and even some fashion work. I think it's more expensive than the 88, obviously, because it's bigger, but yeah, that's the one I would go for. Next question. Prasanna says, your next competition is going to be held when? Well, let's take a look at our competitions here. So our next competition is March. Now, Prasanna, this stuff's not tricky, okay? Just go to our website, carltayloreducation.com, and go to the bit that says, look, just here. It says, just look at this, Tim. It just says there, competitions, okay? So in the My Account or login, you've got your members discounts, you've got competition, you've got forum, you've got live shows. It's all there. If you're completely lost on our website, go to the footer at the bottom. You've got all the information you need about our section, terms and conditions, FAQ, and over here, competitions as well. So it's all there. Everything you need is there, okay? So our next competition is when? I've forgotten now. March. March, here it is. and we're giving away a Manfrotto 057 carbon fiber tripod worth $800. That's our next competition prize. And again, we're giving the super stopper filter, the foundation kit. Then even better than that, in June, we're having another giant competition. We're giving away a Syros lighting kit, even more valuable than the Canon 5D Mark IV we're giving away today. So just stay tuned. You can see what's going on the website there, Prasanna. Christian Uwet says, may I ask one question? Of course you can. What do you think about kit lenses in general? Okay, so I take it you're talking about the lenses that come with the cameras, like the 1855s that come on some of the crop sensors, 2470s. To be honest, I don't really know, because I never really bought a camera with a kit lens. My preference would be for a prime lens. Back in the day when I used to buy cameras, 35mm cameras, your kit lens was a 50mm 1.8 or a 1.4. It was always a fixed focus lens, and I actually think I would prefer a 50mm fixed lens as the lens that I got with the camera, because I find that 50mm focal length beautiful to work with. You learn a lot from shooting with a 50mm 1.8. It's a lens on 35mm full frame that you can use for product photography, you can use for portrait stuff, you can use for even semi-landscape stuff. It's quite versatile, and it's versatile because it's almost the same focal length as your eye. So if you look through one eye, the magnification view from a 50mm lens is similar to the focal length of your eye. And that's why a 50mm lens was always the standard lens on a 35mm full frame format camera. Then obviously they started bringing crop sensors out, and that effectively made the focal lengths appear different because you were cropping in on them. So they started putting different lenses in there, and people started using zoom lenses. I can tell you my favorite wide angle lens is a 16-35. So I usually use 16-35, then I've got a 50, then I've got an 85, and I've got a 70-200. And then in my medium format kit, I got a 28, I got a 35, I got an 80, and an 80 is equivalent to a 50. I got a 100, I got a 150, and I believe I've got a 50-110 as well. So there we go. Right, next question. Aditya says, does using Broncolor lights over Elinchrom make drastic changes in your images? Well, it depends what you call drastic. Let me just jump back to my portfolio site here. Let me just go to my overview page. So I would not have been able to do that image there with Elinchrom lights very easily. I would not have been able to do that image there at all with Elinchrom because of the speed flash duration that I need to do the type of work that I do. I would have been able to probably do, actually I might not have been able to do that one because I used a lot of Fresnels on that. I would have been able to do that image. That one I used a para. There's no way I would have been able to do that image with the Elinchrom because I need the very fast flash duration, the 10,000th of a second at t.1 measurement. So there are things that you can do, there are things that you can't do. So for example, there are a lot of nice portrait images and shots that I could have taken with Elinchrom and that I have taken with Elinchrom. So for example, these two shots here were taken with Elinchrom, okay? Those were beauty dish shots with Elinchrom. And another way of looking at it is you can use Elinchrom with Broncolor modifiers. So you could use a para, and you could use the adapter, and you could use an Elinchrom light. So it's the modifiers that make most of the difference. So it's the thing I've benefited from when I switched to Elinchrom, switch from Elinchrom to Broncolor, was the ability to use these amazing modifiers that Broncolor have. They've got a lot more basically modification that you can do to the light because there's a lot greater variety of modifier choices. Then the second advantage is the flash duration. So on the Syros monoblocks or the Skoros, you have this very ultra fast flash duration that can freeze super fast flying liquids, super fast flying models, jumping models, fabrics moving, all sorts of stuff like that. That's why I like working with the Broncolor stuff. But I have taken some great shots on Elinchrom. It's just about controlling the light. So you can do a hell of a lot with most decent studio flash systems, but you can do a little bit more with others, and that's why Broncolor is my choice. Okay, well, I'm going to take about, I think, 4 more questions. And then we're going to move over to do this competition because I want to talk about some of the finalists, if you like. I want to talk about their work. So we're going to spend a bit of time just critiquing a couple of pictures as well. Right, John Hobley says, "Hi Carl, what improvements or technology would you like to see in future cameras? Personally, it wouldn't be megapixels." You're absolutely right, John. I don't want to see any more megapixels. I've just tested the H6-100 and I loved it. I thought the extra megapixels were worthwhile, but more importantly, the reason I'm switching from my H5 to the H6-100 is because of the CMOS chip. My H5 is a CCD chip, and that means it's rubbish at 100, 200, 400 ISO. Sorry, it's not rubbish at 100, it's brilliant at 50 ISO, but it starts to deteriorate at 200 ISO, 400 ISO, 800 ISO, because CCD chips were only good at low ISOs. The CMOS chip on the 100 camera is really good at 64 ISO, 100, 200, 400, 800, it's good all the way up to 1600. It actually delivers a usable image even for commercial purposes, even for product photography at 800 ISO. So that's the reason I'm switching, is because, you know, I get to trade my camera in, upgrade it, get the new one, get the extra megapixels, okay, great, but it was more for the ISO increases. I think what we will see in future cameras is continued improvements in ISO recording capability, so lower noise, higher ISOs. I think that's going to just continue to improve. We're seeing pixel shifting technology start to appear in some of the smaller 35mm cameras like the new Sony A7R. Obviously Hasselblad and the medium format ones are going to keep up with that because they also do pixel shifting, but they do it on medium format, so you know, even bigger resolution, which might be useful for archival purposes, for some of the museums, for that sort of stuff. But no, I'm not really fussed about any more megapixels. I think ISO improvements is handy. The other great thing that I like in the medium format is flash sync at any speed, so I can cut out daylight, no problem at all, because I can shoot at 1/2000th of a second at f2, and the 2,000th of a second will cut the daylight out, but I can still sync my flash guns with 2,000th of a second. There's no limitation on flash sync speed with my medium format with Hasselblad because it's got a leaf shutter which is built in the lens. It works differently. Next question, do you still work with analog cameras? That's from Eric Showmans, and I believe he means like film cameras. No, Eric, I stopped using film in 2005. I used to shoot Sinar 5x4" big view cameras for advertising shots. Used to shoot Mamiya RZ67, number of different film cameras over the years. Stopped doing that entirely back in 2005. JV Flores, when do the winners get announced? Well, JV, if you'd been here at the start of the live Facebook thing, you would have heard that I'm announcing the winners shortly. Lee Taylor, do you ever use shift lenses in your work? Yes, slightly differently though, Lee, because with the Hasselblad system, they've got a tilt and shift adapter that goes between the body and between the lens and then allows you to do the tilt and shift work with the adapter. But the answer to your question is yes, I do. Even better than that is to take the digital back off the camera and mount it onto a technical camera, like a Linoff or a Sinar, and with it on a technical camera, you basically then have the complete control over tilt and shift and Scheimpflug correction. So there you go. But you can also get tilt and shift lenses in 35mm. For example, Nikon, I believe, do some, Canon do some. So tilt and shift lenses can be useful. Again, I guess the extra megapixels and shooting with a wide angle can be useful because you can just shoot wider, leave a bit of room, and you can keystone correct the image afterwards if you're not using a tilt and shift lens. Eddie Haid, final question. Eddie Haid, who are some of the photographers working today that you admire? Well, I like Rankin. I love his work. I think he's got a really good connection with his subjects. It's not always about the lighting or the technical side of things. It's what he gets out of the people, the way he portrays the characters. I like that. I love Tim Flack's work. Tim, who I know is coming on the show soon, so Tim's going to be a special guest. Now, Tim Tim's work is incredible. He's just finished this new book called Endangered. How do I get... Here we go, let's read more. Tim, if you check out this blog post on our website, Tim has just finished his new book, Endangered, and Tim's work is incredible. I mean, look at this stuff. This is just amazing, amazing work. And I love Tim's post-processing. I love his lighting. I love everything about the way he works. Been a big fan of his work for a long time. He's just finished his new book, Endangered. He's coming on our talk show. He was scheduled to come on our talk show in January, but he's had to push it back to February, so we need to update this page because he's got a project on. So he's coming on in February. Another photographer that I really like was a guy called Bob Carlos Clark. I took a lot of inspiration from his work back in the 90s. Litchfield I liked as well. Some of the National Geographic guys, Jody Cobb, Sam Abel, Steve McCurry, you know, there's lots of them, lots of great photographers out there. There's a lot of the other Hasselblad ambassadors' work that I really admire. You know, there's lots of great photographers out there whose work that I admire today, and it's always good to, you know, to look at other photographers' work and to take inspiration from their work. And, you know, you can teach yourself a lot in many ways just by looking at other photographers' work and trying to figure out how they did it. What is it about the shot that you like? You know, it's not always about, okay, they lit it this way or they did that, but how did they invoke that emotion? Those are the sort of things that are important. Right. Let's move on to announce our competition winners for our December competition. Let's just remind everyone here what we had. There we go. The Canon 5D Mark IV is up for grabs today. One lucky person is going to win the 5D Mark IV. And then third place is going to win this foundation kit, Lee Filters foundation kit. Second place is going to win this Big Stopper Lee Big Stopper filter. Let's crack on to that. Enough chatting for now. Let's move on. I've been talking too much. Right, let me explain first of all what I'm going to do here, okay? Because it's important that we understand the judging process and criteria. The competition theme was moments, okay? Now that is quite ambiguous in many ways, but the interpretation of moments for me was going to be an important part of the judging. I wanted to see if the image invoked the emotion correctly with me for the term moments, okay? And the images I've selected had to be high quality images that photographically worked. Most importantly, they had to invoke an emotion or a feeling. There had to be something about the image that draws you in, that I was drawn to, okay? Now, how did we do the judging process? Well, we had hundreds and hundreds of entries this time, unlike our previous competition. But this time, I think maybe because we said more about it, we had loads to choose from, okay? We narrowed them down. First batch run, took them to one side. Second batch run, and the team and I, that's everyone that works here, who've also got an eye for photography, we looked at the images. I had the final decision on them, but we looked at the images and discussed them, and I debated the ones that I wanted to shortlist, and then I've narrowed those down. Now, what you're going to see here is in this folder, none of these are the winners, I'm afraid to tell you. So if you see your picture in this folder and you get excited, unlucky because you haven't won anything, all right? You've not won a thing, but I shortlisted you because I wanted to give you an honourable mention for some great work. In this folder is 6 images, okay? This folder's got 6 images in. One of those has won the camera, and 2 of those have won second and third prize. But I'm going to go to this folder first. So in this folder, no one has won anything, okay? But I'm going to select these images, put them into a slideshow a second, so that we can look at these images. And let's just slideshow these. Now, I better not stay on that one for too long because it's got some, well, I'm not sure how that's dealt with. Let me pause that, right. I want to talk about these images first of all. So let's talk about this one. I thought this one worked really, really well. I thought the emotion that it invoked, the expression that it invoked was superb. The lighting was superb. I thought that was a really, commendable image. I thought this one worked really well. I'd forgotten the names of these people. I'll call the names out in a second. I thought this one worked really well. It invoked emotion for me of the theme, moments, what's going through this old guy's mind while he's looking in that window at those, expensive watches or whatever. I loved the feeling of it in that shot. This one, what an amazing moment, this fantastic building. We looked this up actually. This is a building in Singapore. I was in Singapore last year. I did see this building, but I completely forgot when I saw this shot. And it's just so bizarre, the way the full moon's been positioned behind the people. So there's a real sense of a moment captured there. And it invokes a really strong emotion. As did this image. I thought in terms of a moment in time or a passing of time, the viewpoint, the coloration in the sky, the sort of reds and the blues in the sky, and then the reds and the blues in the trail of light down here, I thought this was a fantastic shot. This one invoked the feeling of moments really well. You've got the woman on her mobile phone round the corner on one side of that wall. Then you've got the guy leaning against the wall, and then the other guy leaning against the door frame, and they're not even aware of the woman around the corner having her moment on the phone. The other guys are having their moment, and it's just that moment in time. I thought that was a beautifully captured image, beautifully composed, lovely coloration, really nicely done. This was another one. Fantastic, just an interesting study, great use of occlusion, feeling of depth, feeling of three-dimensionality in this image, things that are difficult to capture in photography, been captured really, really well. I'm going to call out the names of these photographers in a second. So that was a great moment. I thought was a beautiful shot. Fantastic result here. I love the layering, again, the sense of depth, the layering in the image, and what we've got happening here is what we call turbidity. So you've got the fogginess of each layer in the image, which dictates the depth to the image, because obviously the thing that's furthest away is affected by haze the most, which gives you this layering effect, which gives you three-dimensionality in the shot. And then this incredible passing of this fighter jet and the heat trails out of the exhaust there as well. Superb moment captured there. Another great shot here, studio shot. The karate girl flying in the air there, having kicked the bag, swinging. Nicely executed studio shot. I thought that was a good effort as well. And then this lovely moment captured here of this couple walking along the beach, water's edge. Thought that was really, really interesting as well. Now, this one was another great shot. I felt this one needed to be cropped though. This one had a bit too much going on the right, going on the left. I think this shot would have made a better square. If they'd been cropped into a square frame or a more square format, this one could have worked really well. But I loved, the color, the expression, the energy, the sort of fear factor of what's happening in the shot. Beautifully captured moment there. This one was quite peculiar. Very abstract, real low shot over this desert dune, this sand, and this camel perched there or sat down there on the edge of the dune. And then that beautiful capture of the desert sky and the stars there. Fantastic moment to be part of that moment, to be present at that moment. And then this one I really liked. It didn't quite fit the bill for me. This was less of a moment for the subject in the shot, but it was just more of a great moment to experience with that shaft of light breaking down through the trees, the lush green in the trees there. Looks like India or Sri Lanka or somewhere. And, in one of these countries which is quite chaotic usually with traffic, you've got a moment there where the cyclist is on his own in a little bit of peace and quiet before the chaos of the traffic is arriving or further down the road there. And then we're back to that one. Right, let me do a shout out here. So this one was Arvin Kakarain, I think that is. Arvin Kakarain. And let's have a look. Oh no, I can't do it that way. I'm going to drag this out so we can see them again briefly and call the names out. Then we have Bernard Ward, shot that wonderful image. Well done, Bernard. Then we have Boon Ji Tan, shot that image. Then we have, do we have another one or do we have to go down? There we have. Gustavo Bird, shot that image. Frank Boisselier, shot that image. Well done, Frank. Charles Dean, shot that image. Well done, Charles. Christian Salo, shot that image. Well done, Christian. Patrick Minar, shot that image. And Rafael Tejeda shot that image. So well done to all you guys. I wanted to give you a mention. Unfortunately, you haven't won anything, okay? So if you tuned in at the wrong moment there, you might have been getting super excited, but I can tell you, unlucky. It's just not your Christmas. But it is someone else's Christmas because someone else is going to win the prize. Now I'm going to move over to my shortlist here. We're going to go to the final few. Now you can get excited now. If you're seeing your picture in this folder, you could be the lucky winner. Now, let me just shout out the names of these pictures before I go through them. I'm just going to, so that I don't have to keep doing this because I want to do this in slideshow, or maybe I can do it this way because I can see the name at the same time. It just looks cooler with the black stuff around it. So this is by Harold Dupuy-Morin. Harold, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. Then we've got this one by Greg Creasor. We've got this next one by Lee Taylor. Did we just have a Lee Taylor ask a question? Yes, look, Lee Taylor. Do you ever use shift lenses? Is that the same Lee Taylor? Wouldn't that be interesting? Then we had this one by Tomaz Kasiba, I believe that is. Then we've got this one by Sidar Sahin, and this one by Frank Boisselier. Okay, now let's take a look at these images, right? Let's gonna move into what do you call it? The slideshow software. Now, there are 6 images in here. 3 of these people have won a prize. 3 of you are going to be really disappointed. 3, well, you might not be disappointed because you actually got into the final 6, but there can only be 3. There can only be 3 winners, okay? Not like on The Apprentice last night where there were 2 winners, which was quite interesting. Right, I've gone and completely stuffed that up now. Right, let's go back into that. View, wrong button. Here we go. View as slideshow, 6 items. Right, so let's just look at them all together first of all. There's all the 6. There's my 6 finalists for this competition. I am going to just talk about these images first of all. Beautiful capture here. This moment where the photographer basically has chosen the moment here, where this guy is jogging around this this playing area at the bottom of this block of flats. Beautiful capture with the line leading to the guy, the symmetry, the blue, the orange, and then these pastel colors on that building in the background with all the washing hanging out of the windows. Absolutely fantastic. What a lovely photograph. This shot, beautiful moment. What a moment. We've got what looks like a family shot here, grandfather possibly with a granddaughter, and it's been set up as a portrait shot with lighting in the dark, in the garden or in the forest or wherever. I don't really care. It's a very powerful image and I love the emotion that it invokes. I absolutely love it. I love the lighting, just a little bit of subtle lighting on the trees in the background as well. Superbly done. Next shot. What a great moment. Look at the laughter and the happiness on that child's face, just playing there on that little bridge over that little stream. Beautiful capture with the lighting, backlighting in the hair, bit of post-processing work, maybe overcooked a little bit, but I think it's been nicely done, darkening the edges, vignetting it down to bring all the focus to the child, to the splash in the water. Lovely moment captured. This one, wow, powerful storm, powerful sea, and you've got this lone guy in this vivid blue jacket stood there on the wall. And then you've got these really bright benches in the foreground, which really adds to the image. And the blue parts of the image tying in with the blue jacket, glint of blue sky in the top left. And then this powerful wave crashing up and that stormy sea. Another fantastic moment captured there. This one, absolutely stunning. What a moment. This moment that the photographer described as this gentleman feeds these birds every day. This was in Morocco, and just a beautiful moment in time. That's this guy's moment. This is what he does. This is what he enjoys. This is his moment. But it's been beautifully captured, and the occlusion in the image with the birds in the foreground, the layering, the guy, the light, and then the layers of the birds and the rocks and the sea in the background. Absolutely beautiful capture. And then this lovely shot as well. We've got this guy sat in this outdoor street cafe. What looks like Venice, I guess. Beautiful backlighting, the contre-jour, as it's called, the sunlight against the sun, and then the shadows coming towards you. Fantastic shot as well. Wonderful moment for that guy to be there at that cafe, just sat there, and it's encapsulated perfectly as a moment. So, there can only be one, as they said in Highlander. Didn't they say that? But there can be three, because there is actually three. There's only one main winner, but there's three winners in total. So, in third place, the winner of our Lee Foundation kit is, oh, actually, I've got to get out of this because I don't know the names of the people. I need to say their names, don't I? Right, hold on a minute. Let me get into it this way and see if I can do it like this. Does it let you do it this way? Yes, it does. Okay. In third place, dun, 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 dun. Go to my screen, Tim, go to my screen. In third place, winner of the foundation kit is this picture by Thomas Kosiba. Well done, Thomas. Lovely shot, lovely capture, depicting moments perfectly from our interpretation. Anyway, we thought it was a wonderful shot, wonderful capture. Well done, Thomas. You have won yourself a Lee Filters Foundation kit. And wherever you are, we'll be sending that off in the post to you. Let's go back to my screen. Tim. In second place, winning a big stopper filter, we have this image from Greg Creaser. I thought this was a stunner. It encapsulated moments absolutely perfectly for me. I thought it was well executed, well thought out. It's a little bit abstract, but I really, really like it. It invokes emotion. That's what a good picture should do. A good picture should invoke emotion, and that's what it did for me. So Greg, you are winning our big stopper filter. That'll be on its way to you. Now, finally, for our grand prize of a Canon 5D Mark IV goes to dun, 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 this image here from Siddhar Sahin. I thought this image was absolutely brilliant. It, for me, encapsulated moment absolutely perfectly. Two reasons. One, the moment of the person. I liked the abstractness of the shot, that in this image we didn't see the person's face. This is unusual. You don't normally like to see a shot where you're looking at the back of someone, but for this shot it worked really well. It added to the mystery of the shot. It was this guy's moment. This is what he does. He feeds these birds every day at this time, and that's his moment. And there's the sun setting, the light glinting on his robe on the left-hand side, the light hitting the white necks of the seagulls and the birds there. This fantastic layering and occlusion of these 2-3 birds in the foreground, then the guy, then the birds in the background, gives so much three-dimensionality to this shot. And this is one thing with photography where trying to create three-dimensionality is very difficult because you're dealing with a two-dimensional format. This has been executed perfectly. I love the authenticity of this shot. I love the naturalness, if you like, of this shot. The fact that this isn't a manipulated shot. This isn't a heavily post-processed shot. Not that many of the others were either, but this is a moment. This is a real moment, and it's been executed really, really well by the photographer. Captured perfectly by the photographer, and it captures also this guy's moment. So Sidar, whoever you are, well done. That is a fantastic image. That is the winner of our Canon 5D Mark IV. But these guys, Harold de Puimorin, did fantastically well with that shot. Very close contender. Lee Taylor did very well with that shot. No relative of mine, obviously, as well. And this one by Frank Boisselier. Beautiful shot there as well, Frank. Unfortunately, though, we can only have one winner and 2 runners-up. So there we go. Well done to everyone who entered. Thank you very much for entering. Remember, we've got another competition coming up in March. And then we've got another big prize in June with the big Syros lighting kit. And of course, if you like to get your work critiqued, then send them into our forum. And other photographers are happy to discuss your work. We look at your work in there as well. Now, I think that's about it. Is there any more questions coming? No, we're all good? Right. So if you'd like to see us live in London at the SWPP convention in January, we will be there on the 13th, 12th, 13th, 14th, I think it was, with Hasselblad in the Monarch Suite. I'll be doing some live demos over there. Live beauty, portrait lighting demos there. So if you'd like to come along, say hello, be happy to see you over there. On Wednesday, we have a live workshop here in this studio, which will be broadcasting live on carltayloreducation.com on beauty lighting with our model, and our makeup artist will also be joining us as well. That's about it. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you for entering the competition. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you like the winning shots. We'll probably be putting together a blog post and showing those winning shots on a blog page for you in the next couple of days. We'll see you next time. Thanks very much.